5-set matches. And he's only come back from 2 sets to love down once in his career, and that was at the Australian Open. But he's not going to regard this as 2 sets to love down and then having to continue on, and because I don't think fatigue will enter into the result in this match.
Definitely not on the side of Jim Courier. So there's the first game of today for Jim Courier. 1 game all. In fact, about that, Fred, he says, you know, I don't know whether I've ever won a match because I'm fit. But he'll say...
He just knows he is.
No, he says, one thing I do know is I've never lost a match.
Yeah,
through
that's
fitness.
right. He exploited the forehand side of Ivanisevic. Now, Ivanisevic shows him the new tennis balls. This will pick up the pace of the serve. Lots of broken strings yesterday. Very humid conditions. Very heavy conditions yesterday, and the rain came. Sun is shining now. And Ivanisevic is serving much better than he did yesterday.
Much better than he did in the early stages yesterday. He served particularly well, although Courier had, as we said, a handful and then some of breakpoint opportunities. He was broken himself twice.
Yeah, the shots that Courier was making yesterday, he's made a number of unforced errors today, the first couple of games.
Boy, he is awesome, isn't he? I mean, he hits that ball so cleanly when he hits it well. Ivanisevic 2-1, 4th set.
Semi-final day amongst the ladies tomorrow. Quarter-final day today for the men. Cliff and Fred watching Jim Courier and Goran Ivanisevic. Cliffy?
Thanks a lot. As a matter of fact, exactly the same way things turned out a year ago, isn't it, Barry, in that women's semi-final section. This is game 4. 2 games to 1. Ivanisevic leads 4th set.
Courier definitely not as sharp so far today as he has been.
We've been talking a lot about Brad Stein and Jose Higueras, who are coaching Jim Courier, and the great job that they have done. They really have. Mainly, my feeling about Higueras especially is that they've calmed him down and they've made him a lot more thoughtful. He's playing a lot more intelligent tennis. Got a note from Sergio Cruz, though, who worked with
I got one also
for a long time, and said, "Don't forget me, guys." And so we don't. He was a Portuguese fellow born in Mozambique.
Well,
He helped Courier out in 1988, that 1990 area.
For a couple of years, did a lot of work with him, and was responsible for getting him pretty fit. Sergio Cruz, a good man to have on your side. But unfortunately, if you're not at the tournaments with the players, you don't get mentioned as often.
That's right. He's a Tar Heel now, actually, living in North Carolina. 15 all. The thing about Courier is I don't think anybody's really ever had to make him work hard. No. He does that on his own.
I think he's had to get the coaches out there at times, I'll bet.
That is, let's see, double fault number 7 for the match for Courier, 15-30. Shaky start for Courier today. Started out very strong yesterday. Won the first set 6-2 behind 2 breaks. Again, 2 breaks in the second. He won that set 6-1. Goran Ivanisevic won only 1 serve game in those first 2 sets. In this set, Courier has started out 6 unforced errors. Break points for Ivanisevic. Now, you try to put this in perspective. Courier, of course, is the strong favorite to win this match and championship. But when you consider a list of the most talented players in the world, Ivanisevic is among them.
It was wide.
So the break for Ivanisevic.
Well, we've said that Ivanisevic, you can see his fan club there. That's his dad with the moustache. He tries not to get too excited when his son's playing. But we've said at times we really haven't known which Goran Ivanisevic would show up. He's had problems because of things going on in Yugoslavia. Cliff alluded to those yesterday. He had to forfeit in Monte Carlo at a tournament earlier because of heart palpitations and a regular heartbeat. But there's nothing wrong with that heartbeat out there today. He's been pronounced fit and well. There's stress problems that he had.
Yeah, we spent 4 days in hospital down there, as we said. Ivanisevic, 10 aces now. Again, just to put it in perspective, Goran Ivanisevic, I don't know how familiar you with him are with him. He's been a very successful player. You're not including guys like Agassi, rather, and Sampras and Michael Chang, though. He's in that sort of next group of great players.
Semi-finalist at Wimbledon, semi-finalist here. He's up there.
I mean, I put him up there very close, probably just behind Michael Stiegfried. I think Richard Krutchik is right up there in the same
category as Ivanisevic, yeah. That's his record at the French Open.
S'il vous plaît, merci.
He is playing for the first time at the French Championships a little tightly. That was a shot that he should have made.
He normally would have made that in the first week. And Ivanisevic, as he did yesterday, if he wins a point, he is a little superstitious. He took the same ball to play this point with, or to serve with. Well,
break point. Courier, before this match started, that's, let's see, 7 double faults for Ivanisevic, balanced by those 10 aces. And he said Goran is a very dangerous player every time he steps on the court, and stepping on there against me is not going to be any different. 6 of 14. Courier has broken 6 times. Ivanisevic has broken 5. He's had 13 chances.
Courier now checking the mark.
Too late, though.
Too late.
And he knows it, so he's not even going to have the lines person check it. He looks at him as if to say, maybe you missed that one. Tell folks again, Fred, that you've got to make your decision at the time that the ball bounces. When it bounces, that's the time that you have got to say, stop the point and take the chance that you're right about the call. If you finish the point, you cannot go back and say, let's check it now.
String broken. This has happened. They must be using very fine gut, Cliff, because there have been so many string jobs go out in this last few days. I know conditions have changed. It's hot, and then it's heavy conditions with the rain, but they must be using a very fine gauge gut.
There's a lot of moisture in the air too. And the rackets are strung pretty tightly. You can hear it too.
But we've mentioned the fact that the dirt plays a big part on it. The clay gets onto the tennis ball and then under the strings, and with the way that these boys hit with the pace and the topspin.
Here's Brad Stein.
Gavin Forbes.
And Gordon Forbes on the left, author of a book called A Handful of Summers.
Avantage. Ivanisevic.
Now, let's see. Does this qualify in that area of he should have stopped before the point was over? Paulo Pereira in the chair is hesitating to get out of the chair.
He's telling him.
There goes the racket. Gavin Forbes takes it out to get restrung.
He's telling him, Cliff, exactly what you were alluding to, that after the point's finished, it's too late. If he'd have stopped and taken the risk, then that was fine. But if he plays the point out, then he has no recourse. So a couple of very close ones for Ivanisevic. Ivanisevic has been on the right side of Lady Luck with a net cord and a couple of close line calls that have gone his way.
I thought that folks in the stand may clap that just long. Mishit, and Goran Ivanisevic, not that easily, but he holds on, and he has a 4-game-to-1 lead. He's down 2-1 against the #1 player in the world. Well, the complexion of this match has changed. Now, Goran Ivanisevic, although only one break, he's got a 4-game-to-1 lead here in the 4th set. And if it gets to a 5th set match, as explosive as Ivanisevic is, truthfully, anything could happen. The pressure also may begin to build in the mind of Jim Courier that has been so solid up to now.
And, of course, Ivanisevic thinks, well, I've been given a second life after yesterday, because had they stayed through yesterday, I don't think there's any way that he'd have found it. Well, he was starting to serve better, but Courier was playing exceptional tennis yesterday. He's made a lot of unforced errors today. And as you mentioned, maybe feeling a little bit of pressure now with Ivanisevic. He's a good front runner, Ivanisevic.
15-0.
Of course, the other thing about playing against Ivanisevic is you're very much at his mercy. I mean, he hits the ball so hard, and he's so unpredictable. Look at this, a volley that he should easily have put away, really. He hits long.
Petit silence.
But you cannot control the pace against him. 15 low.
30.
And the strange thing now is, with the service break in the 4th set, Ivanisevic believes in himself now, and he thinks that he does have a real chance at this.
It was only 2 years ago that Ivanisevic beat Boris Becker at the French here, and that happened in the first round. Yeah. And then he got to the semi-finals of Wimbledon, as you watch that replay. And that was the start of his climb, and he's got everybody's attention then. Game point, Courier.
What do you think is going through the mind of Jim Courier?
Well, I was just thinking a moment ago, Fred, that I think that he, you know, you were talking about Ivanisevic smelling I mean, he can see light at the end of the tunnel now. On the other hand, I think that Courier is aware of that fact, and he may be a little tighter. I know he's tighter than he was yesterday. And it shows in the unforced errors column. That's why game to Courier. Jim Courier is 21 years old. Ivanisevic from Croatia. He's from Split. Yeah, as we mentioned yesterday, from the same city as As where your friend Nicky Pilic is from, yeah. Now coach of the German Davis Cup team. He has moved subsequently to Munich, but Ivanisevic still lives in Split, and of course that whole country, former Yugoslavia, has been wrecked with war now in these last few months. Unforced errors, as you can see. Courier
for the first time, the only set that he's ahead in that column.
Getting worse.
Vital game for both players, the 7th game, and Courier goes deep into the backhand corner. Ivanisevic anticipating a move back into the forehand, tracks it down, but this is good night. 7th game, if Courier can get it, brings him back into the match. And of course, Ivanisevic would then extend his lead if he wins it to 5-2.
Oh, what a shot. Like Jim Courier is listening to us, Fred, and says, "This, I want to show you guys a thing or two."
Well,
great point.
Watch this topspin forehand approach. It's not a good one. It's mishit. And watch Courier's reaction. There's the topspin, and he just stands there. He measures it. He takes one step, and he says, "Hey, that's right in my zone." And he just threaded the needle down the line. And Ivanisevic knows that the approach was not a good one.
Love 30. Jose Higueras. He's there, but it's long. Thought he was going to be able to get to that drop volley, Fred, and do a little bit more with it, but he apparently wasn't there in time.
That was a smart play from Ivanisevic there, because he is the more natural volleyer. And of course, he's got those long arms. He's a little taller than is Courier and stretches for the volley well.
Heads up, everybody. Big point. 15-30. Missed it. 2 break points for Jim Courier to get back on serve in the 4th set. He's down 2-4, up 2 sets to 1. Well, he responded well a couple of times in the 3rd set yesterday at this stage of with some big serving. Let's see if he can do it again. Six of 15, 5 of 13 for Ivanisevic.
Neither player very successful on break points. On the line.
The call. Yes, it's good. Apparently, Ivanisevic is not going to argue it. He strolls by that dastardly mark, and Jim Courier has broken back. He'll serve when we come back. He's down 4-3 in the 4th.
All right, come on back. Here's Cliff and Fred. You guys come on back, too.
Barry, you're so persuasive, even I turn around and I know the result. Okay, we've got 4 games to 3. Ivanisevic, he is ahead, but we're back on serve here. This is Jim Courier.
But you've been doing everything Barry tells you all week. That's the side where the errors occurred yesterday, the forehand wing of Goran Ivanisevic.
A cool customer, this boy. Been watching other matches this week, putting his feet up. Bob Brett, I think he's perfect for Ivanisevic as a coach. Very level-headed. He makes his boys work very hard, and Ivanisevic needs that, and he also needs a kind of a calming influence, because he's been a wild man, a real crazy boy on the court from time to time.
He's only a youngster, but Bob Brett, of course, brought up in the Harry Hopman school. He came over here and worked for Mr. Hopman in Florida, and then went on his own with 3 or 4 players, and gained enough respect that the top players looked for him. And he was with Boris Becker for quite some time, and now has taken on Goran Ivanisevic. And another problem with the racket, maybe that one is split, so he doesn't want to take the chance.
Guy from Split has a racket that is split. He's from Split, Croatia.
That was a good one. I enjoyed that one. You get too many marks for that.
That's all right. You got a response, Fred. That's all I was looking for. 30-15.
Hasn't really caught fire, this 4th set yet. It started off with Courier making a lot of unforced errors, and it hasn't got the crowd's attention. And they're back on serve.
Game point. Watching last year's champion, Fred. Here it is again.
Another one pretty close to the line from Ivanisevic, and then he tees off on the forehand. Wrong foot's Courier, who was able to scramble over there but not control the backhand lob.
Unhappy about that, Ivanisevic, but it's not going to help him any. It's 4 games all. Jim Courier down 4 games to 1. He's held serve twice since then and broken. So we're even now in the 4th set. Courier leads it 2-0.
And
2-1 rather.
in yesterday's match, Ivanisevic missed that baseline by a matter of inches on half a dozen occasions. At the start of this match, the start of this set today, everything was going along smoothly, but he's miscued on a couple of the last 2 games.
Tennis ball in his pocket there bothered him apparently, or he was just showing his aggravation. Love 15 in this game. When Jim Courier won the French championships last year, it's not like, which is where he made his move in Grand Slam tennis, really. It's not like he had that good a draw. He had to beat Stefan Edberg, who was the toughest quarterfinal match. for any of the guys who got through to the semi-final. He beat Edberg, Stich, and then in the final he beat Andre Agassi. And again, in this French Open, he has had by far the roughest road, and he's going to continue to have it because the bottom section is really relatively naked of players, and the top section is jam-packed full.
Vicious. You could see him just like a little fox terrier dog, just keeps biting at you and biting at your ankles until he got it deep in the corner with such pace. And this is a pretty tough overhead. Ivanisevic did a good job getting this one back into play.
$15-30. That perfectly played, just the right height on the lob, because Ivanisevic got to it but put it right back on Courier's racket, and he wasn't ready, Fred.
No, it was a tough one. He was anticipating it, but it was a great shot, I think, by Ivanisevic, who even at 6'4" had to do a good job to get this one. You could see Courier was ready, but it just came up a little too high. I think he may have anticipated that one down a little bit lower. Good effort from Ivanisevic.
It's a long game, point Ivanisevic. Big game this.
And that's the same type of point. Ivanisevic way behind the baseline in the defensive mode, just trying to stay in the point. And it was eventually a big forehand that missed the baseline. And you know that Courier in those circumstances is not going to back off. He just says, hey, I'm just going to tag these until they keep going. And unfortunately, that time he missed one.
Well, that was a big game, won by Ivanisevic. Courier will serve when we come back. We're on serve in the fourth set. It's 2-1, number 1 seed. A lot of rain. There is a lot to buy and a lot to enjoy. And, of course, who enjoys food better than people in France? And, indeed, who prepares it better than them? We've had a couple of outstanding meals during our stay here at the French Championships. Tomorrow, Monica Seles and Gabriela Sabatini in a rematch of last year's semi-final. And, of course, the number 2 seed here, number 2 player in the world, Steffi Graf, will take on Sanchez Vicario, who beat her badly last year in the semi-final. 4-5, Courier serving. Fourth set, he leads 2-1. He missed it, love 15.
That was a well-played point from Ivanisevic. And it was that 6'4" frame that really scrambled a squash shot back. It was like playing squash there, and so that made it a very difficult little flick of the wrist for that top spinner, and a nice lob that Courier was off balance. You can see him coming forward as he makes this one, has to flick it over, and he's still on his way in looking for a volley, and then he's off balance. You can see that had to take 2 or 3 quick little steps there, so he didn't quite time it well when he was in the air. Bad shot.
Love 30. Ivanisevic 2 points from the fourth set. As a kid, his first tennis teacher was also his school teacher, and try to get him to play right-handed and to write right-handed, but he said no dice. He writes and plays left-handed, as you can see now. Ivanisevic from Croatia. Love 30. He leads 5-4. Cry of anguish from this man.
Well, he played the lob before and it was successful for him. I think he felt I'd throw up another one and see what happens, but maybe a bad choice of shot, because at love 30, if he'd had a crack at one and hit the winner, then he'd have been in the driver's seat here. However, he played the safe shot and made Courier hit the winner. Courier answered the question and came up with a winning overhead.
15-30. Big serve in the corner, 2 corners in fact, nearly about 6 inches or so from the serve line. This is live coverage from the Court Central at Stade Roland Garros, very close to Paris.
I said a couple of games ago that this had not ignited the crowd. You can hear the crowd starting to get into this match now as it gets towards the end of set number 4.
Another 3 big points there for Jim Courier. It's just short of 4 p.m. in the afternoon. The sun is out for the moment. The bad news is that there are some pretty dark clouds gathering overhead. Anyway, we're used to that now. Game point.
Hits that one away. The crowd noise. If you've been with us since the start of the championships, you were here when we had that horrendous storm on the first Monday. They had more rain in 13 minutes than they've had in the month prior to that. Then the first week of the championships has been on and off again on 3 or 4 days.
Game point. All right, 5 games all. He dodged a bullet there.
Yep.
Loves 30 in that game.
And Ivanisevic, yesterday, he had somewhat of a goatee going for him, didn't he? He looks as though he shaved that off today. Must have decided maybe a change of luck. But tough game there for Courier, and he got out of it. Nerve-wracking couple of games coming up as we head for the tiebreaker. It's nice if you can get a start like that.
Low.
Oh.
30-15. Split. Formerly Yugoslavia, now Croatia, where he lives, it's the largest town on Croatia's Adriatic coast. It's just across from Italy. And Nicky Pilic used to talk all the time about how nice it was. Bob Brett watching. On the coast and warm water, a place to enjoy a vacation. Except not now with all the trouble down there.